Guys, I'm gonna start doing guided visualization videos from now on. So in case you guys are wondering, I'm gonna start doing the first one now. I'm gonna get comfortable on my sofa and just start from there. All right, guys, here's how it goes. Or how it's gonna go. I want you guys just to sit down and relax, and I'm gonna kind of just like start off by telling you guys a story, kind of. And you guys want to follow along with me. All right, in case you didn't hear me, I want you guys. Where's the camera at? I want you guys just to follow along with me. Okay. So imagine you're in a forest. You're walking down like a slow, kind of easy meandering trail. It's not like a quick pace, kind of like a hiking trail. It's like a very easygoing kind of scene. I'm trying to like paint the scenery for you, the setting for you, as to how this kind of thing is. It's just kind of like a slow meandering trail, or at least it's the kind of trail you'd walk along in a slow meandering way. Okay, so it's kind of like in like a wooded forest kind of area. Think of the setting as being maybe close to twilight, but not dark yet. The forest is kind of like, it's very green, but it's not evergreen. It's just like very kind of calming and relaxing. There's no springs where you are at in this forest, but it's kind of like that kind of climate and that kind of biodome. There could be springs at some point somewhere along the way. So you're walking along this trail, and you're just slowly walking along the path, and notice that the grass to your right is very green. It's not like the greenest grass in the world, but it's kind of like a deep verdant green, I'll say. Like a deep forest green, but like with the word verdant. So that color. Imagine also that the grass contains like little flowers, like little daisies and things like that. So it's like a very intricate grass, right? It's not just like a plain, boring grass. It's like a very intricate scene. So try to imagine that more so than just like a basic kind of scenery in your head. So as you're walking down this path, you come along, and it's a dirt path, by the way. You come along, I'll say this, it's a long stretch of trees and a long stretch of path. As you walk along the path, you pass a lot of trees. The path kind of curves along its way, and it gently slopes to the right. So as you're walking along this path, you pass a lot of different trees, and it's very much like a very calm, kind of relaxing setting. So as you're walking on this path, you walk for maybe 5 minutes or so, and you pass through these different areas of the forest, and eventually you come along upon a clearing. And in this clearing, it's, as you look up, it's very foggy, but it's not overcast to the point where you can't see anything. It's just kind of cloudy to the point where it kind of like a little bit kind of colludes or kind of clouds the atmosphere just a little bit, just enough to give it some ambiance, if you can imagine that, in the atmosphere. So as you come out in this clearing, imagine that you've just been walking along this trail for a while and been kind of getting a feel for the woods and how they feel. And as you come out in this clearing, you see a knight. And this knight, you don't maybe recognize him the knight at first. He's not wearing armor, but he's wearing kind of something similar to armor. He's wearing like, well, not similar, but he's wearing just like kind of like a villager's things. You wouldn't recognize him at first as being a knight. I'm trying to paint a picture for how the story could go. So think of this as like a setting, kind of like a medieval storyline, but it's not a medieval story. So in this kind of context, it's kind of like the kind of person you would most imagine as being similar to a knight in a medieval story, but they're not a knight. They're just kind of like a villager, and they're wearing what would be most considered to be a knight's equivalent clothing. So as you meet this person, he's wearing kind of a villager's clothing, and he asks you as you greet him, or you greet him at first, or you meet him at first, and he greets you and says, "Hi, how are you doing today?" And you may choose to answer however you want. But let's just say you respond to him by saying something along the lines of, "I'm doing well, how are you?" Or "I'm doing fine, but I'm doing well, how are you?" And he says, "I'm doing great. I live in a village nearby, close to here. I hope you didn't wander too long in the forest because it's getting dark and it's starting to get overcast. And you really should come and find your way to our village. You can stay at our tavern. You can spend the night there for a little bit, and we'll be happy to welcome you in and give you a place to stay and welcome you in, and you can meet some of the locals or some of the people who frequent our tavern or stay in our village or in our town along with us and happily meet our people." So as you consider this decision, in your own mind, you have a choice. You can choose to accept this villager's offer, or you can choose to carry along your way. Keep in mind, it's very dark at night, and it's very late, and the clearing is kind of beginning to get really kind of cloudy and tough to see past. So in your mind, you might imagine, and I assume you would, that if you were to continue onward, you might get lost, because it's very tough to consider what would you do next, because you can't see anywhere further, there's nowhere else for you to go. So bear with me as I just assume that you would take the villager's offer and go to visit him at his tavern. So the man escorts you to his tavern through the tree line, along a side along a smaller, slower side path. As you venture on through the clearing, you eventually arrive at a small tavern. Kind of offset, it's up on a hill, but it's a little bit out of the woods, but it's still in the same area. And as you arrive there, he lets you in. And inside the tavern, there's not many people, just one lonely woman, kind of in her early 40s, sitting in the back of the tavern. That's all you can see once you first step in, is that setting of the tavern and that one woman. So, as you walk in, the tavern person says, "So, what can I get for you? Well, you're here, might as well offer you a drink." So, you have the opportunity to choose a drink. And I'll lay out two options for you. One is you can choose to get a gilded Gilgamesh, which is one of the drinks that they offer at this tavern. The second one is you can choose to refuse to take a gilded Gilgamesh. You can instead just get a water. So, the person sitting at their post behind the bar, standing at their post behind the bar, says, "Okay, what can I get for you?" Now you have two options. If option A, we choose a gilded Gilgamesh thing, then he'll give you that, and that will be your first selection. If option B, you'll get a second one, and that will be your second option. So, I'm going to leave this video off for here, and you have to now pick one of the two following videos, or I'm going to do two separate videos based upon these options. And depending on what you choose, you get one different outcome or the other. You can only pick once, and whatever you pick, you're stuck with. So that's how this is going to work, and that's all I have to say. Oh, and sorry, I didn't clarify it off. The second option is you can get a Broken's Brewery beer. So that's the second option you can get. So there. Now, I'm going to leave this video here and tune back in with my next video after you guys make your decision. So there.